It seemed like the
So we gotta.
Oh, yeah.
But I guess what we're saying is,
I never make connections
you
with
want
them.
to have a situation
It's
where
still going on.
students can be able to evacuate.
They said that's
Agreed,
not
boss, 100% agree. So under any circumstance, mobility students purposefully on non-first floor. Creating.
Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Welcome to the school committee meeting of Monday, July 16th, 2018. It's your notice that this meeting is being electronically recorded. We'll go ahead and jump right into the business agenda tonight with the superintendent's report. Mr. Sawyer?
Thank you, Chairman. A couple brief updates. Today I was at City Hall meeting with city officials for over a number of issues, most notably working on school safety, which is a nice way to remind everybody that we have not forgotten this as an issue and continue to work with the city to try to make the schools as safe as possible. And I was also discussing several capital issues that we have across the district and doing some advanced planning with the mayor and trying to get ahead so that we will have as smooth a year as possible. So I appreciate their support, and hopefully we will be able to stay on top of things. I also wanted to update the committee that Assistant Superintendent Regan and myself were in Mashpee last week for the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents Conference that they run every summer. We were there for 2 of the days. It's a professional development experience for us and also a chance to do some networking. In general, I would say it's a real affirmation of our work to talk to other people and hear what they're going through and realizing that the issues that we face are the issues that people face across the Commonwealth, and that our ideas about how to address them are very similar to what other people are coming up with, and that we're not alone, and that I think we're in the right line of thinking in terms of what we're doing and what other people are doing. And then lastly, we had some really great takeaways about how to enhance the 21st century learning environment of our schools, and look forward to implementing some of our learning with the principals in August, and then the district as a whole in the coming year. So that was a productive use of our time. And then lastly, I wanted to remind everyone that registration starts July 24th. And that there's more information about all the registration dates this summer on the website. So anyone looking for that information, you can find it right on the web page. So I'd now like to switch over to our strategic plan progress report that we promised at our last meeting to go over this last period of the strategic plan. I'll turn it over to Ms. Regan.
Thank you. So as Superintendent Sawyer said, we'll review our progress to date. We'll do that by looking at the goals the progress that we've made on each of the 3 goals, and then the plans and initiatives that we have to continue to work moving forward. So, as you know, the strategic planning process is built upon our essential beliefs and our mission to engage, challenge, and inspire all students. And we have our 3 overarching goals that are also include the pillars for learning, culture, engagement, and infrastructure. Thinking about our vision to be the center of the community united around education, I would say anecdotally, in my opinion, that we've made some significant progress this year in working towards that goal. I think the Nellie Mae Education Foundation grant has helped us move forward and progress in that particular area, and I'll be speaking more specifically about that further on in the presentation. Again, here's a brief outline of the entire strategic plan. So for Goal 1, guided planning, we've continued to look at our professional development and modify our work within our PD system. We've created a sequential system of offerings, which we're now calling pathways or courses. Teachers have the opportunity to choose a course that they would like to take for 4 sessions, and they receive professional development points based upon that one specific area. So it could be content specific, ELL, social emotional learning, technology. They have a variety of options that they can choose from. Another area of growth for us is that we were able to acquire a new professional development platform. It's called Talent Ed, and it interfaces with all the rest of our platforms, so including our evaluation platform, our records platform, and our time and attendance platform. So everything will be connected with one username and one password for everyone to be able to see where they are in each separate solution. The instructional technology plan is underway. The team has met. The work has been divided amongst the members of the team, and it is set to be complete in January. So I'll have more information on that in that time. And then our district guidance team continued to meet throughout the year. What we have done, actually, we just completed it this summer. Members of the team met. We put together an advisory schedule with the district guidance team and a couple of the guidance counselors. We've set up that schedule to address specific topic areas of focus having to deal with Naviance, as well as the foundational pieces of what was formerly known as an ILP, which is now called a MyCap. So the ILP, which is the Individualized Learning Plan, is now called MyCap, My Career and Academic Plan. The purpose of that, really what they're calling is a process tool. It helps really to have the student be self-directed in multi-year planning. It helps with their academic plans. It also helps them to document their own growth, and it helps them to engage in career activities and plan that out for themselves. So in the fall, the Department of Ed will be updating their guidance for MyCap, and that document should be coming out in fall of 2018. So we'll be looking forward to that document so that we can continue to build our plan moving forward. Goal 2 focuses on improving quality learning experiences. And so one thing that we did spend quite a bit amount of time on this year was our instructional design tool. So we focused on working to identify exemplary performance in the district. And before we got to that point, we needed to identify exactly what we wanted. What were the critical and most important areas of instructional design that we wanted to focus on? And so we wanted one place where someone could actually click on that and find out what that looks like in Attleboro. So this will be a living document where educators, or even any staff member for that matter that wanted to look at this, could go onto the website and click on a separate section of that icon that's listed there, that image, and they could learn about objectives, assessment and reflection, culture, social emotional learning, and learning experiences. And we were able to tie all those pieces in together with our essential beliefs and our exit outcomes. So putting all of that together in one place, we've wanted to call it RID, our ID, our instructional design, to know that this is ours. This is what you should be expected to do when you come to Attleboro. Another demonstration of growth is the creation of the Attleboro High School ambassadors. If you came to STEAM night, they were spread throughout the building, helping to guide and to support families as they were walking through the building. They've also been volunteering for other events and programs in the district so far. I believe they helped out with kindergarten information night, even though it was rescheduled a couple times, but they were there for that as well. And they had a training this summer, and they're actually learning how to be, training to volunteer to work at events, and the number of them just continues to grow because many of our students really want to participate in that group. Another demonstration of growth for us is that we revised our school improvement plans. So we have created a new template which includes 3 goals. One is focused on student growth and outcomes. The second one is on our school environment, and the last one is family and community engagement. For student growth and outcomes, we combine that. It was formerly teaching and learning and curriculum planning and assessment. And a lot of times what we saw is that the information or the goals that they set for those first 2 were very similar in nature. So we decided to combine the 2 and make that into one. For school environment, that was formerly professional culture. So what we decided to do was include professional culture and the environment and culture for students, and creating a school environment. And the last one used to be parent and community engagement, and we decided to change that so it was family and community engagement to be more inclusive. So it's on a 2-year schedule, a 2-year cycle. We'll be reviewing the goals that they set for this year, for last year, in the middle of this year, and then they'll start that 2-year cycle again. Goal 3, community engagement. As I referenced in the beginning of the presentation, we were lucky and grateful enough to receive the Nellie Mae Education Foundation Community Engagement Grant. With that, we created our community coalition, Be Heard, the Community Coalition for Education. We have a strong cohort of community members and students that participate in our monthly meetings. We've developed and submitted our plan to the foundation, and submitted our budget. We've asked for more money to fund the projects and initiatives that we have set out to do in the new plan, so we're hoping to hear back from them with a positive result for that. Inclusion, equity, and diversity professional development through the Nellie Mae Foundation and Be Heard, the Community Coalition. We were able to become community partners with another organization in the community, and we have someone that will be presenting to our leadership team this summer on inclusion, equity, and diversity. We're always grateful for the community partnerships that we have, and we just want to give a specific example and, thank you to especially AACS for allowing us to be able to go to the studio for students to actually see what it's like to work in a real live studio, as well as the YMCA. They've been very supportive of our work this year, as well as our students' contribution to the Healthy Living Alliance this year, where they were able to write proposals for water filling stations. Finally, for Goal 3 with community engagement, we are continuing to work on our communication plans. We have set, or if we started to set guidelines and expectations for our social media presence, as well as starting to create a bulletin, a quarterly bulletin that we wanted to share all the work that we're doing in teaching and learning and our community engagement throughout the year. So that should be coming out this year as well. So moving forward, we want to continue to work on MyCap, taking a closer look at that and really putting together the solidified plans of how that will be rolled out, not only at Attleboro High School, but then moving that down toward our middle school and eventually our middle schools. quality learning experiences. So we will continue to put together recommendations for the grade span plan, including our rationale and the specific options that we think could work in the district. And then for goal 3, community engagement, we'll continue to work on our communication plan and begin to research and start to build a strong foundation that we once used to have for continuing in adult education. So those are the specific areas that we would like to work on moving forward. And so, as you can see, we are at the end of year 3, and looking ahead to year 4, that's when we have to start to think about our strategic evaluation. So what we've done is we've expanded our partnership with Hanover, and they'll be supporting us in our evaluation of the work that we've done to date through the use of interviews and surveys. And then we'll start to think about, from that evaluation, we'll use that information to start to think about and plan for our goals for 2025 and start to build our new strategic plan. I didn't think that I'd be talking about this so quickly, but it's exciting to see that the work that we've done and the progress that we've made to date, and also recognizing that there are many things that are still in that strategic plan that we need to focus on and that we need to do. But I think we've made some progress and hope to continue to work on that.
Any questions or comments, Mr. Larson?
Just on the community engagement part, it struck me when you talked about the continuing adult education, and I mean it's a fabulous program, the academy, and I think back to one of the first graduations that I went to, and one of the last ones that I've been to. The graduating class has more than doubled in 2 or 3 years, and I mean, which just speaks to its success. And they do a fabulous job, and I guess my concern is I wouldn't want to see that growth stymied by anything. So I guess I'm not looking for an answer now, but I guess my question is, how big can that program get under the current circumstances? And because I think it's one of the fastest growing, I don't know, the fastest growing adult program I know about, but I mean, that doesn't mean too much either. But I mean, I would hate to see that hurt in any way. So I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be the size that it needs to be to meet the needs of the students who need it, right? Like, so.
Right, but I mean, I guess my thought is, if you had asked me 3 years ago, would it double in 3 years? So if it doubled again in the next 3 years, and you had a graduating class that was pushing 100.
Yeah. Well, I mean, quite frankly, I think there are limits both in terms of our ability to provide the kind of environment that makes that program successful, and two, one of the basic premises that was built into the development of it in the first place was the idea that you don't want to build a program that starts to compete with what you're doing during the day. And so you don't want to become a victim of its own success. And so as its growth indicates, is we don't think we've hit the outer limit of that yet, but it's something we have to be sensitive to.
Thank you.
Mr. Geddes?
A few weeks ago when we were here, we credited Mr. Sawyer with the administration's efforts to make the school district the center of this community. And a lot of what you're presenting is showing how we're doing that and getting closer to where we want to be. One of the things that stuck out to me was the probably intentional pun of the instructional design tool being our ID. That really, the curriculum in the district has to be the identity of the district. That it has to be experiential. It has to be student focused. That really is what we need our students to get, and it's what our students deserve. So keep up the great work. Thank you.
Mrs. Gales?
And Mrs. Regan touched upon that, there's are many things that we haven't, looked at yet, but we knew that going into it. Like, we knew this was a very aggressive, ambitious plan when we started. So, we know those things will be looked at. You are always out looking at them, continuously looking at them, and that will either be addressed this time or the next time. I mean, it's not like we're losing sight of it, but they're always
Yeah,
out
so
there.
part of what we'll try to evaluate is the things that we haven't gotten to. Do we need to, create plans for how we're going to get them done moving forward, or do some of them, did we not get to them because in the full scheme of things we think differently about them now? And so
Exactly.
we're not at a point where we can say that about any of them because we just keep putting them on the back burner. But at some point we have to make those decisions about these things that we haven't got to. What do we need to do to resolve them? And for some of them, it literally might be what sounded good in 2015 doesn't make as much sense in 2020, or 2020. So that's a thing that we have to go through. And you're right. Some of them we're just going to keep plugging away at until we get to them and get it right. But there are some things that perhaps we'll say, that was a nice idea, but it doesn't make as much sense anymore.
Rob?
And knowing that this was a three-pronged approach, developing this comprehensive plan with a number of different stakeholders throughout the community, have you started planning for who will be involved with whatever the 2025 vision will be? Have you started considering people, or do you think it's too early for that? Or
Well, it's too early to have identified that quite yet, but I will say that we're going to be in a much better place this time for two reasons. One, because of our work through the third goal, we have a lot more active partners to work with.
Right.
Right. Like so, success begets success, and in many ways we might have a different problem of too many people, figuring out a way to get them all involved. So that's definitely a piece of it.
because I think that was the one of the great parts of how this entire thing was developed was that it wasn't just administrators, it wasn't just educators, it was committee members, it was community members, business owners, etc.
Yeah, the other thing I say is that I think that the success we've had with this plan will also encourage people to invest time into the formation of the next plan, because I think it has credibility that this is an effective tool for us.
Right.
We were lucky to have the people who helped participate last time, but it was a bit of an act of faith on the part of those who participated because we didn't have one, and people said, quite frankly, strategic plans don't have a good reputation.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of, I think, cynicism about whether or not this was a good use of time. And to see how this has transformed our district, I think that there will be a lot more people who are willing and eager to participate next time, because they see that, at least in this district, this is a tool that we use to enact change.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to invite Mr. Furtado up for the next 3 items.
So you have the new seal.
Yeah. Handsome, huh? He looks like a lion rather than E.T.
Mr. Furtado?
Mr. Chairman, we are here to report out our end-of-year position for FY18. We were notified today by the city auditor that modifying POs and budget lines has ended for the year. We are at a surplus of about $49,700. We reported to the committee regularly since December that it was going to be close. That's 6 1/millionths of 1% on the budget. We have about $330,000 of encumbrances to still work through, and those represent estimates for costs such as electricity, where the final bills haven't come in yet. Equipment for doing projects in the district that weren't completed till recently. So we do expect the $49,700 number to change, but not in any meaningful or substantial way.
Questions, comments? Is that the closest you come?
In my career, yes.
Landed at the end of the runway, did we, right?
Well,
That was
Yeah.
interesting at the end.
well done, because, $49,000 in the scheme of our budget at the end of the year is incredibly tight, so, well done in working within the budget and getting us through the year.
The thrill we have is opportunity cost and knowing that we spent every dollar we really could reasonably without taking crazy risks, meant that the students got the full benefit of the budget for the year, so very happy about that.
Great.
Item number 3 on the agenda, the grounds and maintenance contract. When we bid out the landscaping, we explained to the committee we had 2 alternative bids submitted for additional work. The custodial union in the district thoughtfully worked with us to allow for us to exercise this alternate, which will have the landscapers do the grounds work around the schools rather than just on the athletic fields. This will free up the custodians to pay more attention to the interior of the buildings, and as our buildings age, that's a very important focus to have. So it's a very good outcome. The cost to the district vis-a-vis what we paid for landscaping for athletic fields in 18, by adding this, it's the same cost as what we paid for this year. So there's no additional cost to us, and it allows us to focus on things we need to be focusing on. So I'd ask the committee to consider approving the alternate bid number 1.
Do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or discussions? Mr. Larson?
The only discussion or comment that I would make is this is something that the finance subcommittee talked about with Mr. Furtado a while ago, and something that we were hoping that we would be able to bring forward to the full committee at the appropriate time, so I'm glad to see this coming forward.
And we did discuss it at the last meeting as well, so I know everyone's familiar with it. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Right. Motion passes.
And finally, Mr. Chairman, number 4, our food service contract extension was received by the state of Massachusetts, and we are asking the school committee to approve the executed by Whitson's contract extension.
And as the committee may recall, this was on the agenda for the last meeting or the meeting before, but then learned that it hadn't yet been approved by the state, so we had to wait for that to happen before we could actually approve the extension of the contract that's already in place. So at this point, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion or questions, Mr. Larson?
Same comment as the other. This is something that finance has talked about in the past, and we're hoping to bring forward at the appropriate time.
Anything else? Mr. Geddes?
I know this, entering into this contract was a tight vote for this committee. I believe it was 5-4, if I remember correctly, or 6-3. So I know that I've been happy with the Whitson service. I don't know how all of the committee members feel about it, but I hope that they continue to accept feedback from the district and continue to improve their services for us.
Anyone else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Did you want to bring forward your other item, Mr. Furtado?
I would,
Okay.
and this is in conjunction with the grounds and maintenance alternate bid number 1. We have equipment at our schools that we have used for the maintenance of the grounds, specifically at Hyman Fine and at Willett, that has been deemed unsafe by our maintenance personnel that maintain the equipment. Because of the agreement with the custodians to allow us to do that work with a vendor, we were able to identify replacing that equipment with equipment that didn't require a grass cutting deck, so it saved us some money. Um, and we have ordered some equipment to come in that will be specifically used for snow clearing by the custodians. So we would ask that the current equipment, which is over 20 years old, and again has been deemed unsafe by our maintenance personnel, two John Deere tractors at Willett and Hyman Fine, be deemed surplus by the committee.
Everyone should have been given a memo to that effect tonight. We have a motion to declare these two tractors as surplus.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion or questions? Mr. Geddes?
Sorry, this was something I meant to ask when you were talking about the landscaping contract. You mentioned that the contract we just approved will allow for the custodians to focus on the interior of the building, but you also mentioned the custodians doing snow clearing. So that is the only exterior work that they would be responsible for?
They're going to continue to support, keeping the exterior of the school presentable.
And safe.
But the primary work is going to be done by the landscaping company. They're not going to have to be getting on tractors
Okay.
to maintain the external grounds of the schools. They've always been required to do the snow clearing in the winter.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, we have a motion to declare the two tractors as surplus. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Is that all, Mr.
That is
Furtado?
all.
Thank you, Mr. Furtado. Mr. Sawyer?
That concludes my report.
Thank you. We're moving on. We have minutes from our June 25th, 2018 meeting. The minutes were circulated with your packet. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda, motion to approve a donation in the amount of $90.20 from Pelagi Brothers Ice Cream to the class of 2018.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
And that concludes the consent agenda. Open forum, is there anyone who would like to address the committee at open forum tonight? All right, I will close open forum. Next, the Attleboro School Committee will convene an executive session pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Sections 21A, 2, and 3, to discuss strategy with respect to negotiations with union personnel and to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining. As an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the school committee, the school committee will not reconvene in open session.
So moved.
Second?
Scott?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Steve? Yes. Lori?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
All right. We are in executive session. We'll take a few minutes.